Why don't you? Yeah. Yeah.
All right, folks.
Hey, Jimmy. His computer is not.
Get it right. The,
See if Brenda, if she'll come by up here.
We're live, sir.
Okay, we'll call to order the Raymore Parks and Recreation Board meeting Tuesday, April 27th, 2021. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Member Collier.
Present.
Member Bartow.
Present.
Member Manson.
Present.
Member Casas.
President.
Member Troutman.
Present.
Member Howdy Shell is absent tonight, and we do have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. Next, the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll move on to personal appearances. I'm going to send this over to the director.
Yes, sir. First of all, on our personal appearances, we want to bring in former Park Board member Mr. Harris and thank him for his time on the board. We have, on behalf of our staff and our Park Board, we have something we'd like to give him. So,
Mr. Harris, come on up.
get out here for the camera.
Thanks for coming. Thank you. Thank you for your time. We wanted to give that to you. Spend a little extra on it. Oh, yeah. Make it nice.
Good. I like that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Was that flexing?
Yeah, I got it all.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody.
Brian was appointed to Park Board in 2007. Multiple terms as chair, and because he moved, we lost him. Blame his wife.
Yeah. It was her call. It was her call. Thank you very much. Thank you. Last time I was here, my last meeting, I thanked the board and several people in the city council. But there's a few people I forgot to thank you. So if you don't mind, I just want to thank my wife, and my two children, my family who put up with me for almost 15 years of coming to all these meetings and missed a couple things, but I really enjoyed my time on the board. So thank you guys for continuing to serve, and thank you guys for doing what you do for the city. All right.
So, Brian. I just want to add real quick, with Brian, that's a wealth of knowledge in all seriousness. We kid him and so forth, but Brian has been on the groundwork of a lot of things here in the city, and that's going to be almost, well, it will be impossible to replace, but we're thankful he was here. So very appreciated, Brian. Superintendent Rulo, I'm going to come to you next.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce Gary Manda from Troop 1032. He wants to talk about the Eagle project that he's getting ready to do here.
Or can it go over here? Okay.
As Steve said, I'm Gary Manda from Troop 1032. Guess we'll just get started. So my Eagle project is to redesign, re-landscape the south entrance to the police station. Oh, yeah. And then, so down at the community center, let me backtrack. So my parents own a landscape business, Blue Cedar Landscape. They've done a lot of work for you guys. And down at the community center, they did a decomposed granite gravel with aspen trees kind of in that. And so we were thinking we'd do the same thing in this pretty rough looking bed. So that's the basis of it.
Any questions? How long do you anticipate this project to take?
It'll be done in a day.
Wow, impressive.
Yep.
Steve, did you take note of that? One day.
Looking to hire him.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for your service to the city. All right, next up, consent agenda. We're going to approve the minutes from the March 23rd, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we accept the consent agenda in its entirety for the park board meetings minutes on March 23rd, 2021.
Second it.
Okay. Hearing a first and second, any modifications? No, seeing none, we'll go to vote. All those in favor? All those against? And anyone abstaining? Okay, so 4-4, none against, 1 abstain, 2 absent. Okay, next we'll move on to staff reports. I'll turn it over to Director Mustine.
Thank you, sir. I will ask Recreation Superintendent Gibbs to give a staff report.
Thank you, Nathan. Wanted to point out that Coordinator Corinne Dowd was supposed to be here this evening to report. She had a family emergency that needed to be out of town. So we will push her off until her report off until next time. But I do very much want to make sure that we're celebrating the successes that she's had with some of her programs, and that they are celebrated in front of this board and for the community. A couple other things that you do have my report in front of you. A couple things that I wanted to highlight. We did start off with we had our first baseball tournament this past weekend. A little bit of water, a little bit of rain over Thursday, Friday, and maybe even Saturday morning. Steve's crews out on the park did a fantastic job of being able to get us rolling as we needed to. We do have another tournament that's coming up this weekend, and both of those tournaments have about between 20 and 30 teams apiece. So that's a nice introduction into our schedule, and our fields look fantastic. So really liking that. Wanted to bring up again that I'm working with our marketing manager, Melissa Harmer, with the grand opening of the TB Hanna Playground Shelter and Spray Park that's coming up May 26, 3:30. You should be receiving your invitations at some point to that event. Also wanted to point out that I got the final proof for the review and the Parks Guide that's coming out. And this is a quote from Communications Manager Harmer. It says, "Your crazy coordinators are responsible for this issue being the largest one I've ever worked on because of all the fun activities." This will be a 40-page issue, and 20 pages of it will be Parks and Recreation. So that's pretty awesome that we've got a lot of cool things coming out into the community for this time around. We are neck deep in recruiting for a few different positions, key positions, part-time within the recreation side for this summer, and those are including the camp supervisors, camp counselors, desk attendants, event support staff, site supervisors, and then just a whole host of different types of instructors for different classes. Also wanted to point out that we're a month out from the farmers market, which will start that first week of June. We also, something that Corinne would have talked a little bit more about, but I just want to bring it up for tonight. She did a Fortnite Summer League presentation, and this was a Zoom call. Started out, it's going to have about 15 or so cities, and this is nationwide. It started out with about 15 interested, and then it ended up that we had 35 different communities from coast to coast on this call that she is presenting on. So the deadline for the summer league isn't for another 2 months. We already have 20 cities that have committed, and that is, each city will have between 3 to 5 teams. So this is quickly expanding in a good way, and it's really bringing a lot of notoriety. It's not the right word, but it's bringing a lot of excitement for esports, and it's happening right here with our coordinator. So pretty excited about that. I think that's, I did want to mention that we had the citywide scavenger hunt that was supposed to be last weekend. We're working to reschedule it later on, either this summer or maybe early fall, so we can get a better following for it. So, but that concludes my report. Answer any questions you may have. Yes, sir.
Rich?
Thank you. How do you sign up for that Fortnite league? Do you have to have a team? Is it individual?
So the way that it works is that our department will develop teams. So if you're in this area, you participate on our teams, you register through our Parks and Recreation department. Every other Parks and Rec department will do the same thing. So while we are championing the effort, is that the right word? It will be up to the individual Park and Recreation departments to set their fees, to set their terms of use, all of that. So we're setting the platform for them to participate with us. And so and honestly, if you want to participate and you want to be on the team from Rojo, California, you can register with them. It is not, it's esports. It can be anywhere, any ages.
Is that online now available to register for Raymore? Do you know yet?
Greta, do you know the answer to that?
I believe it is, yes.
I think.
Okay, and that might be something we look at promoting within the school as well, just as a
absolutely.
summer option. I mean, I know I play Fortnite with my kids. I'm not very good, but I still play. And it'd just be a way to, give a different, reach out to a different group of kids that may not, play your other sports. They may, and it's just a way, another program for the summer that, as parents, we find lacking. So.
And to piggyback on that, this event is a qualifier type of event. So winners of these tournaments can use this information on resumes and for college scholarships now. And so that's pretty exciting too.
Anyone else? I've got a couple notes for you. First off, I think for the Raymore team, we need to pick up Rich's kids, but we need to tell Rich to check out another city. Part two is I'm hoping this Raymore Review magazine will have a picture of Superintendent Rulo in his basketball garb for the charity event that he did, because it was fantastic. Last one, and on a serious note, is last weekend we had with all the events going on at Rec Park, it was packed. And we talked about that a little bit by email. How was the parking? Did we get it by okay with that?
I did not, and as Todd and I were talking, we didn't hear any negative comments. I don't know how parking was not an issue, but it was not so much of an issue that it created a buzz by itself.
Fantastic.
I was there, my kids were there, so it was packed.
Right.
Parking, but there were available spots. There was no traffic jams. There weren't people parking in the grass. You could find a spot. It may not have been the closest, but it was busy, and you had to pay attention in the parking lot as you're driving because there were people all over the place. So it was pretty good to see, really. It was a nice weekend.
Right, that's exactly what we want without log jams of parking. Awesome. Thank you, Superintendent. Easy for me to say, Gibbs. Director?
Thank you, sir. I'll ask Mr. Rulo to give a parks report.
Thank you. I have submitted a written report, but just wanted to touch on a few items. As Superintendent Gibbs said, our staff did work the baseball tournament last weekend. It worked out kind of nice. I had a couple newbies working it, and we got the whole gamut, rain, dry, everything for them to learn on their first tournament. Worked out great. They were very excited about it. So looking forward to this weekend. I think we got another one. So, it's nice bringing in a little bit of revenue again this year. So also on Sunday night, we did start adult softball. So that was part of my crew also. It's done a little bit different than regular baseball. So in one weekend, we really did get a lot of the training in, which my last point is we're still spending a lot of time training our new guys. It seems like every day we do something different because it's spring. And then I got to remember that I have 3 new employees that have no idea what we're doing. So it's still a little touch and go, but the guys are really picking it up quick. I'm pretty proud of them, and I think we're going to have a pretty good year. So hopefully here pretty quick we'll have some flowers be planted, and everything will just be pretty. Besides that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions for Superintendent Rulo? No? Thank you, sir. Director?
Thank you. I have just a couple updates from a council perspective, and then we can move forward. Hawk Ridge Park, the GeoBomb project, Hawk Ridge Park Phase 2, passed second reading last night by the City Council, so we will give CFS engineers the notice of award, and once that's received, then we will schedule our team meeting and begin work on the design portion of that. So design will take anywhere from 4 to 6 months before we actually go to bid. So it's kind of a long process, but it's a fun process because that's where all the dreaming and the scheming come in play, and then you have to see what all those dreams cost and have to start cutting back. But that's the good part. That means that we're growing and we're building stuff, and it's going to be exciting. Centerview Phase 2, the second portion of our GeoBomb projects, which is the sidewalk trail and the boardwalk behind Centerview, and also includes improvements on the detention bowls, where we're going to dress those up and make those look really nice. That passed first reading last night at the City Council. So that is the updates for the City Council. And then I wanted to say thank you to the board for continuing to support our staff training and our educational conferences. Myself, Steve, Jimmy, and Corinne got to attend the MPRA conference and in person for the first time since COVID hit. Had a great conference, a lot of networking, a lot of educational sessions going on. It was good to get out and see some of our colleagues that we haven't got to see in a long time. So just wanted to say thank you and show our appreciation for ensuring that we get to do those things every year because they're needed. And with that, happy to answer any questions, sir.
Any questions for the director? Bill?
Well, mine more is along the lines of a comment instead of a question. During the work session, we discussed some exciting projects involving the capital improvement programs. And what I'm looking for, and I know the board is, the ideas that you can bring back from staff regarding those projects we discussed. And I hope you have some good ones. Okay.
Yeah, we're looking forward to bringing you guys back some designs and some options that you brought up to us. So we'll get to work on that and hopefully have something at the next work session.
Great. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Director. We have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. Action item A, parkland dedication. Director Mustine.
Thank you, sir. Tonight's first item on the agenda is the Prairie at Carroll Farms. It's a parkland dedication. This is a new subdivision that's been platted and going in off Kurzwell, in between Kurzwell and Timber Creek Elementary. This is a part of, many of you are familiar with Doc Carroll's property. This is a parcel of land that they are going to develop. When that was proposed and submitted, it triggered the parkland dedication and/or fee in lieu. Staff, including Community Development Department, has been working with the developers to come up with a suitable parkland dedication and/or fee in lieu, some type of a combination with that. We briefly went over that in our work session this evening, and essentially what we're presenting to you is a 12-acre piece of land that has some work to be done on it. So what we want to do, the part of the proposal, is to defer our acceptance of that for a couple years until the land has been graded and redeveloped to a suitable piece of property for us. And then we'll also trigger right at $49,100 worth of fee in lieu that will be guaranteed cash in our fee in lieu for development and park projects improvements as the final plat is submitted. So happy to answer any questions. Staff is in favor of this. What happens next is, if the board chooses to approve this, it will go on to the planning and zoning for their review and their approval, and then on to city council. So essentially what we have is a new development coming in, and it's going to give us a 12-acre park in a area of town that we don't have any parkland, so it's desperately needed. We're pretty excited about it. 12 acres isn't the largest park we have, but it's not the smallest either, so we can do some good stuff with that. Buys us some time to do a little park planning over the next few years and fit it in our budget, and we're, as you can tell, we're pretty excited. So our recommendation is approval, but I'm happy to answer any questions on this, and that concludes staff report.
Any questions on this? Okay, seeing no questions, I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I make the motion to approve the parkland dedication and fee in lieu to satisfy the parkland dedication requirements with authorization to defer the acceptance at a later date.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Awesome. Having a first and second. Any discussion? Not seeing any, we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor? Passes 5-4. None against, 2 absent. Okay, moving on. Action item B, budget amendment. Director?
Thanks, sir. Tonight, we have a budget amendment before you. What we're doing is, with the conclusion of TB Hanna and basically the grand opening coming in, and as part of the staff report, you each received an invitation for our grand opening, which is May 26th. More information will be on our website. Evites will be sent out to everybody, but we are personally inviting the park board to attend that event if you can. But with the conclusion of TB Hanna, or at least the phase 1 portion of it, we know that park is going to be extremely busy. It already is. What was a shelter that we reserved as a large shelter that was rarely used for obvious reasons. There wasn't much there. We have essentially turned that particular shelter into a pretty hot commodity and something that people are coming to us for. If you remember last year, we bought some temporary railings that we had fabricated that we could use for the ice rink. I tasked Steve to figure out how to use one of those railings and make my big giant shelter into 2 small shelters underneath the roof, and he and the guys were able to actually do that, and it looks fantastic. And so what we've done is we basically made the one shelter into 2 rentable spaces, and I think it's going to be used a lot. It's already being used. We're not even doing anything with it yet. And anticipating the popularity of that, budget amendment tonight is for some picnic tables to put underneath there. What's great about the tables is typically in a shelter, they're just left there in the wintertime. They just get weathered and not used. These will be moved out of the shelter and put in the patio area when the ice rink is in use. So they'll be used year-round. They're going to be needed. We feel like that we're going to more than make our money back over the next couple of years of what we spend on these tables just in rental of the facilities. So the budget amendment is to purchase, let's see, several tables, 10 tables total. We did a mix of round ones and rectangle tables, 2 of which are handicapped accessible, going with our theme of the park, and obviously because that just is needed. And so this particular budget amendment is under 10,000, so it does not have to go to city council. So if approved tonight, we will place the order tomorrow. Take about 8 to 10 weeks, so it's a little bit behind our opening of the park, but it's as soon as we could get it done. So that concludes staff report, and happy to answer any questions on it.
Any questions for Director? Not seeing any direction, it's a long night. Not seeing any questions, I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion to purchase picnic tables at TB Hannah Station be approved.
Second that.
I have a first and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor? Passes 5-4, 0 against, 2 absent. Next, we'll go to action item C, Story Walk, Cass County Public Library. Oh my gosh. Director.
Thank you, sir. I recently received an email, and I've included it in your packet, in your staff report, from Heather, and I'm really not sure how to say her last name. Imoke, I'm going to go with that. But Heather's the youth services coordinator for the Cass County Library. She submitted a request. They're doing a story walk, a rotating story walk that's going through several different parks in Cass County. What this is essentially a storybook on metal signs that they'll place along the trail. So as you walk the trail, you can read portions of the story, and I'll have the pages are metal, but they'll be able to turn the pages and stuff. It's really a turnkey thing. We don't have anything to do with it other than providing a location. It'll only be in the park for about a week, and then they'll come back, pull the signs, and go to another park in another city. She asked if we would be interested in doing this, and I told her that that would require a special use permit and approval of the park board, as it is putting something that is not something you purchased in the parks on a temporary, permanent basis. So I just bringing this to the board to get your opinion, your thoughts, and I also submitted 4 options for the trails that we as staff felt like would be the best use and not be in the way or be subject to vandalism, things of that nature. And so what we're looking for is whether you want to do this and where you want to do this, and then I will contact Heather and let her know. She does have a deadline of knowing by May 1st, so she can get us on the schedule, which is why it's on the agenda for this evening. And that concludes staff report. Happy to answer any questions.
Any discussion? Simon.
What exactly is going to be on it?
I am not sure, sir. I don't know what book or anything. I know it will be children appropriate, so it'll be more of a children's series book. And most of it will be probably very small in terms of a story, you know. But outside of that, I'm not aware, and I'm more than happy to ask her what story it'll be, but I didn't think to ask it, honestly.
I believe it was going to be a few pages from the book at each location, so they can stop and read and continue on down the trail to the next installment.
Yeah, that's what so it can't be, it's more probably like Dr. Seuss or something of that nature, where it's a smaller children's story, something like that. But I can't answer that for sure.
And she wants an answer even though we don't know?
I'm sorry, say that again?
She wants an answer from us even though we don't know?
Yeah. And I'm going to take the heat for that. I didn't ask her which book it was, so that's on me.
Any other questions? Rich?
I think I would assume that she being the youth service coordinator, that it's probably pretty appropriate for the trail division. I don't think I have a problem with this.
If you as a board want to move forward with it, I'll make sure and find that out, and as staff we'll approve. If it's inappropriate, we'll shut it down. If it's okay, we'll move forward with that.
Any other questions? I think I might add to it. I think we leave it up to you guys where you think it should be. You guys have the best knowledge of the parks. I think as a board, we would probably all agree to that, that part of your question is up to you guys. You know what works and doesn't work. So unless somebody has an objection to that, I think that's how we look at it. Okay? No other questions? I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the story walk as proposed by staff and presented to them by Cass County Public Library.
I'll second it.
I have a first and second. Any conversation? Okay. At this point, we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor? Passes.
So I will get in touch with Heather, find out what that is, what book they're going to use, and we'll select a site, and then I'll follow up at the next work session, what's been decided. Let you guys know that.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, seeing no public comment, we'll move to board member comment. I'll start with Josh.
I have nothing.
Thank you, sir. Rich?
Just that, Steve, the soccer fields are in immaculate shape, the best they've been in years. And having coached out there for who knows how many years, Greta can probably tell you, that's the best they've ever been. So nice job to you and your team on that stuff.
Simon?
I'll just say thank you for your hard work.
Bill?
Well, as usual, staff has done a superb job, and they do a lot of hard work, and it should be appreciated. We covered a lot of projects tonight, some of great interest, and I hope we can see further development along those lines. As for that, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. I'll finish off by a few things. Thank you to Brian Harris again for his time. I think, you know, again, all the time that he's put in was quite a lot of time, and his efforts and everything, so I'm appreciative of that. Thank you to the mayor and city council for continuously supporting this group, listening to our ideas, listening to our director. That's fantastic. Thank you to Superintendent Rulo. This last week, to say that the weather was a challenge is probably to go from cold and snow to 80 degrees. The parks look fantastic. I agree with Rich. The soccer fields look great. Baseball fields were great, apparently. Wasn't on those, but all the parks, I don't know how you got them mowed, but fantastic. Superintendent Gibbs, the idea of 40 pages out of a 60-page book is just incredible. So for you and your staff to move forward and fill with going through the COVID part and then to be able to fill a book full of ideas and get people back out and involved in the community is to be commended. And then obviously Director Musting to oversee it all. We're very lucky as a board here. You make our job easy, and it just moves very well. So appreciative of that. At this point, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adjourn at this time.
Second it.
And I have a second. All those in favor? Motion adjourned, or meeting adjourned.